my name is Deborah Keppel, and welcome to Cabana Talk with Abfabwomen. We are here at the beautiful Loews Lake Las Vegas Resort in fabulous and hot Viva Las Vegas. I am here with absolutely fabulous woman, Shelby Collinge, who is a mind magician. She is president and CEO of Limitless Possibilities, which is an organization to help people create change, experience anything they want in their life, and to change anything they want in their life. She is an author of 2 e-books, 25 Rules to Relationship Marketing, 30-Day Guide to Creating Miracles and Life-Changing Events, and she co-authored the book, Walking with the Wise Entrepreneur, which we have a copy right here. Welcome, Shelby. Thank you. Thank you for coming out in this hot, hot sun here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. We've got birds all around
yes,
us.
We do.
It's fabulous.
We do. So, can you give us some tips on how we can create change and move into living the life that we desire?
Absolutely. It really, the way I invoke change is to get people conscious of the story they're telling themselves. So most of us don't realize that we're getting what we're thinking about. Most people think that life kind of happens to them rather than them having any direct participatory influence in it. And so my passion, my desire is to get people conscious and actually take 100% responsibility for everything that happens. And when you do that, then you can change anything. If it's always somebody else's problem, or the economy, or your mom, or your dad, or your sister, or your ex, then you're helpless to make change. So the more people can say, own it, and somehow realize that they had a participatory part in it, they manifested it, then they can change it.
So how can people own it and realize, take a moment to stop and think, oh, I'm not going to blame my husband for this. It's really my actions, and how can you take those steps to take that responsibility?
I often teach people to realize that life is a mirror. So you receive what you believe. So if things aren't showing up, then there's a part of you that's not on the dial of what you want showing up. Most people have been entrained, told by parents for a long, long time, our elders, that you've got to work hard and you've got to, go out there and suffer, and life's hard, and it's a bitch and then you die.
Yeah.
And so getting things easy is almost like we have to make it hard because that's what we believe. And so people sometimes need to, again, start to notice the patterns that are reoccurring in their life. I often tell people if anything's happened more than 3 times, it's a pattern. And, so if you have more month than money at the end, then realize more than 3 times you've got something to do with it, right? We can't say it's the economy. We can't say it's the job. We really have to. So starting to notice is the first step. Until people can really notice, hey, I happen to be around every time there's a problem. Then they can change it.
Yeah. I often say, in my journey, I've always had taken the hard road. Did things the hard way.
Exactly.
And until you really do, and that is a good point, taking responsibility for your own actions. And also putting in forgiveness in your heart, not only if there's something that happened for the other person, but forgiving yourself too.
Exactly. First and foremost, life is here to teach us. And the thing is it's pass or fail. There isn't like you get a B and you keep going. It's like either you get the lesson or you don't. And there's some lessons that we take a little longer to learn than others. And it is something to really be easy on yourself about, and to just start again to notice and to observe and to really almost know that you're manifesting it to learn something. Like if there's something happening, then there's obviously something in it for me, and to get past the problem to what that is. Most people don't realize that everything that's happened has gotten them to this point, so they've needed it. To say I shouldn't have happened, or I should have gotten successful quicker, or I should have met someone sooner. No, because you wouldn't have been here, making that position from here.
So where you're at right now is your experiences and what got you here.
And it's key.
Yeah.
But to get rid of any gossip, to let go of any complaining, I call it bitching, which is different than complaining in my opinion. But that means, not to watch it on TV, not to read it, and it's habit that we do it, and it doesn't feel good. It really doesn't. And a good example is I've just gone and gotten my hair done, And what's the thing that you sit down when you're at the dryer bowl is the gossip magazine.
True.
So I never ever, I don't have any subscriptions, I don't ever buy them, I don't read them at the stores, but there, it's like all of a sudden I went to go reach it up and pick it up, and it's like, oh no, that's right. Because that's the habit. It's like it's there, we read it,
Right.
It's got some of our favorite people on the covers, we get drawn into it. But again, it's all about what's going wrong with them, we're kind of feeding on, then there's comparison that's going on. Again, none of these emotions.
So you're dwelling on the negativity versus
what you want.
Exactly.
You're not spending that time thinking about what you want. And in my Miracles League course, it's interesting. One of the first things I ask people to do is to make a list of the 50 things that they want, that they'd like to achieve. And I always, 100% of the time, get responses like, 50's kind of hard to come up with. Like, whereas when I ask 5 things that they want to change, they've got a list of 50.
Yes.
And then they wonder why what shows up shows up. Be honest with themselves about what they believe.
Right.
If you think it's hard to make money or hard to release weight, then let's address that before you attempt.
Exactly.
And most people attempt with a mind that says this is never going to work, it's never worked before, and then they wonder. So
because they already have that mindset of defeat versus,
well, and
way
it's
of life.
easier to buy a course that'll teach you 10 ways to turn a no into a yes than it is to go and kind of clean up the clutter
Right.
in the mind.
Right.
So people think, oh, I'll just do this shortcut, it's a weekend, and then I'm done. And then they realize that, it's still sabotaging. They still are not going to let themselves get past till they've dealt with the mental. So at some point, they always come to me.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, it is a daily thing. You have to always, until it's something that is just natural to you, part of you.
that's right. And being able to coach yourself back into, I decide what this means. I got lost. I can't tell you how many times getting here. And I've been to Lowe's, I can't tell you how many times. And I was telling Debbie that every time it seems like the very first time that I've come here. And, I could feel myself get frustrated at a certain point. And then I had to kind of get back in there and say, you know what, you get to decide what this means. So you're going to be a little later and really keep myself back in gear. And this is the way life works.
Exactly.
And it's about kind of pulling yourself back in, saying, you know what, a deep breath, and I get to decide what this means, and I'm in control of my mind. So if I'm going to have the meltdown, then own that I'm going to have the meltdown. And the more, we do that deliberately, again, like you said, it's like a muscle. You work it, it gets toned, and then it burns energy for you, and it really becomes part of the gear of the body, and the mind is just like that. And most of us have been using it just to crank out numbers and, recollect data, and it's so much more to get in front mentally of what you want and create it rather than being at the tail end of that dragon.
Well,
that's
some
within
people,
you.
I believe, it's a mechanical thing. It's just the old ways of thinking, your old thought process, your old learned processes growing up. That's like a natural way of thinking versus retraining yourself to think correctly how you want to be, what you want in your life.
I was working with a gal in a personal session the other day, and she's lived in America for 58 years, and she's 71, and she lived in Europe for only 10, and she's like, and she kept saying, yes, but I'm European. And the third time she said that, I'm like, but you've lived in America way longer than you have outside of it.
Yeah.
And when I said that, she was like, oh my gosh, you're so right. That's a crutch that she was carrying.
Exactly.
And
They
in
have their
Europe,
own identity that they place on
and it's limiting.
Yes.
And what I'm about is at least getting you to notice what that cap is that you're limiting yourself. Fine if you want to keep it, but at least then own the fact that you're keeping it. It's like clothes, and you're choosing to wear. We pick up every morning and we choose what we get into. And we really do that with our thoughts as well, too. We choose where we go. We choose with what we expect. And getting, serious about owning that.
Yeah, we all have a choice. And what I do when I wake up in the morning, and some people may think, oh, why would I do that, but I always have some quiet time, and I choose to make each day my best day. And it really does help because I have that intention, and I set forth that intention, and it really helps, and it's just natural then. I'm happy,
Yes.
Happy girl. So
I tweeted in Facebook just earlier today from Emerson something like, everybody had to get where they're going from where they are. And we so much forget that, it's not about the destination, it is about the journey. You know, and most of us, it's so funny. The minute you get one goal, you set another, and then it's like so anticlimactic because it was like all that to get to there, and it's like,
yeah, you know, you say, well, I want a goal to buy a new car or to be
Right.
successful and make so much money, and then you get there, but enjoy the process of getting there because you are here now. You know, tomorrow may not happen. But
well, and
enjoy
let's
each
face it,
moment.
how long do you really milk the good stuff?
I
Like
know.
when you really want the good outfit and the Gucci shoes, and then you get them, it's like, oh, I got them, and then it's over,
Yeah.
right? It's not like you're going
Then you're
on
thinking,
about
okay,
it.
well, I want this other outfit now.
That's right.
Yeah.
If people milked it a little longer, then it would be like, fine, it's about the destination. But that's not what we do. Habitually, it's like on to the next. And we're, you know, don't get too excited about this and don't be, you know, too flamboyant
I
about.
used to say, well, you know, don't get your hopes up because
That's
you'll
right.
only be disappointed. And boy, that was such a bad way of living.
That's what
you
my
know?
mother
So-
used to say,
yeah,
too.
I think that's probably where I got that. You know,
Right, and see, so my mother would always say, you know what, I wouldn't expect that, no, but don't get your hopes up, like around Christmas, birthdays. So you'd really think like you weren't going to get it, and then you would get it. And then the message is like, I used to not know how to process
Right,
it as a
right.
kid. Like, was I supposed to get it?
Yeah.
Like, you've been telling me for months to not get my hopes up, and then I get it. It's like, is this a good thing? And then I realized to see when I was adult, like when I would get something, it was like I wasn't sure. It's like, do I look around? Is this a good thing or isn't it? And again, having to say, okay, that's the way it was then. Now I get to decide how I want to react.
Yes, exactly. And that's always good. That's the good point. As a Christmas present, always expect whatever it is you want. You just
Expect it.
You know, as a child, you say with the presents and stuff, but you know, I remember I said what I wanted and I put it out there and it happened.
And that's the
Instead
thing.
of dwelling on it like, oh God.
And most people are so afraid of that power. It's like, ooh, it happened, and I'm never going to do it again. It's like, what? Keep going. Keep asking. You know, I always say expect great things. And that's something that I always post. And this morning, I posted it at like, I don't know, 6:30. And it had been a rough morning, which is why, obviously, the drive here was challenging. I was bringing that energy right along with me. And so, you know, we get to this point, and this morning I'm like, expect great things, expect great things. And wouldn't you know that I get a client from an email saying, you know, I want to book a session. And it's like, okay, great. And then it's like, can you meet me this morning so I can pay you in cash because I'm paying from cash? And it's like, how great is that? I mean, it's like, right?
Yeah.
A business person's
Great
dream,
thing.
right? So it's amazing when you do expect it, you know, like, just, I want to be surprised. I want really great things today. And it's amazing what will show up.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, Shelby, thank you so much for coming out, Miss Eve. And
Oh, my pleasure.
I could talk to you all day.
I know.
So, what is your website? Or people?
www.shelbycollinge.com, and that's ShelbyCollinge.com.
Shelby, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And everybody, thank you for joining us. And make this day your best day. Until next time, bye-bye.